Hello everyone, this is Daniel again, and well, I don't think you heard me very well, but Dion Medea. Yeah, Dion Medea. Or as we know, African culture, or heavenly culture. The heavenly language was formed, I would say, in the beginning of time. Then it was formed through the earth by the beginning of humankind. Then, later on, it was broken into parts, and then came with one language, then broken into three parts, and then to many parts of that three languages. Alright, well, let me just explain to you what this is all about. The structure of the language is always the same, but the structure of the language will never change except for the words in it. The words will always change, but the structure will never change. That's the true thing with God's creation. God's creation will change, but its structure will never change. Humankind has never changed. The structure of the human brain has never changed. The bones may have warped and made funny shapes in the past thousands of years, but it will never change. But God is not this way. He will never change no matter what. He has never changed in structure or anything like that, or his behavior. He is always the same. And know that he is always true and always the same, no matter what. He is not evil, he is perfect, he is good and holy. He is everything good. He is omnipotent, powerful, he is omnipresent, and all-loving. Now, Satan can sometimes manipulate God. He can sometimes say, I can do that, and then manipulate God, but only through God we know what he's like. Now, know this. In the future, the language will have stopped into 23 parts. Actually, no. Yeah, 20. It will be 3 languages split into 6 sets of languages. It will be 18 sets of languages for each 6 sects. That means we'll have Korean, Chinese, Japanese, language of Thailand and Singapore and Israel. What do we have that in English terms? We have English, French, Spanish, we have more. We have German, which is different. We have part Russian. Well, we don't have that. We have Swedish, which is part English. We have Polish and other parts of sex. And then Austrian and all that, and Italian, which is part of we have Italian, which is a part of Latin, and that was a part of English, which basically is literally Spanish. So we have different sets of English. I believe there are 6 right now. Then we have parts of the Middle Eastern sets, which is Iraqi, Irani, Saudi Arabia, the rich language, Russian, and parts of Finnish. Are you scared now? You should be. Because we have 16 divided languages out of the same set of languages that have divided themselves into 3. So 18 languages times, so that's 6 times 6. So it's 6 plus 6 plus 6, which is 6 times 3, which is 18. So we're near the end. Now, when the devil says, I will tell you the truth, only one thing. But instead, he says the world will end in 21 something hundred. That's not the case. I believe it will end earlier than that. Guys, we're only at the very beginning of the end. But the end as in the tribulation. We're at the end of the end, but we're at the beginning of the tribulation. Now, the first part is right now, when we're having rumors of wars and all that. Pestilences, earthquakes, and all that. The pestilences are, they have already started in the 60s. They've already started in the 40s. And wars started in the 60s. Rumors of wars started in the early 1900s. And wars started in the 1900s, early 1900s as well. So we just have to wait, don't we? Now, that was a 100-year cycle. Now, let's just get this straight. World War II. No, it's end when there are no more veterans of World War II. Who knows, maybe there'll be 20 years from now, 30 years from now, but we don't know. But we don't know when the World War II veterans will end, but we don't know if it's part of that either. All I know is very soon, there will be many Christians being persecuted and tortured because of what they believe. That's the middle of the tribulation, guys. This is when everyone is hated for what they've done, and they've been hated for what they believe in, like I said in the last video. But also know that the Antichrist will come out of rebellion and misbelief. He will come out of beheadings like never seen before. He'll come like he'll come with great justice for himself, and he will, he'll trick the masses. He'll say all the Christians are gone now, and even then, the two witnesses will come before the Antichrist, and they'll say, "This is what's going to happen. This is what happens. This is what's going to happen when they die. They're going to send presents to each other, and shortly after that, the Antichrist will arise and doom for everyone that's on the planet, except for the ones that are true believers, because they're going to miss every bit of it. Except for the ones in the cities, which are going to have to go to the hills anyway. And the Christians that are alive will have already been in the hills because they're fleeing from all the oppression that the other Christians already believe in. The Christians are hiding from the oppression that all of the other people are doing to them, because the cities are not going to be the safe place for Christians, because when they're spotted, they're dead. And sorry to say that, guys, but I'm going to be the one that's dead because I preached. I blinked first. So, what lies ahead? Can't say. No, we all know that liars are going to hell, but no, this is the future is going to be like this. Heaven or hell. That's your future. Earth has never changed and will never change. Even if the technologies change, they'll always be the same as before, because the computers have always been thought of. micro processing has always been micro technology, as always before. Glowing in the dark micro technology has always worked before, and there's always been many forms of glowing in the dark features and medical uses for the high tech back then. There's always a high tech, except for the very beginning. There was always a high tech, and even then, people were Adam and Eve were scouring the ground for resources that they knew would help them. They were getting ingredients out of flowers, and they were trying to get medicines for themselves, like medicines for themselves. Let's say there was a type of fruit that they knew would help them, like some sort of cactus. They knew there was medicine in there, but we now know that there's a certain type of molecule in the medicine that helps us. Even Adam and Eve knew there was medicine in this stuff, but we now know that the molecule. We have certain knowledge that is worldly knowledge, but we also have certain knowledge that is knowledge of God. And to know this is to have the Holy Spirit. Now, be aware of a few things. People who say, oh, we have the knowledge, or people that say, oh, I know everything, but only God has the knowledge. Only God gives us knowledge through the Holy Spirit. And, well, the Holy Spirit is the only knowledge that we'll ever need. For it is like the rain that comes out of nowhere from the south and east. It's like a man who comes out of nowhere and prophesies false lies. He'll be more destructive than a storm. He'll create a much bigger blast than an atom bomb. He will destroy more people's lives than a nuclear blast, because the more populated the man, the more lives he will fool. The more popular they are, more lives he will, the more he will perish. Because the most popular person, he will literally, the most popular person ever, will have utterly deceived millions upon millions of people. And we cannot have that. Even in a city of 11 million people, he will have deceived 50 million people. 5 score, 2 score. Do not even go near these people, because they will deceive you greatly. Alright, peace be with you. Alright?